I didn't take the job at the Sterling estate because I wanted to serve tea to the elite. I took it because the eviction notice in my pocket felt like a burning coal. Mrs. Halloway, the head housekeeper, made the rules clear on my first night. Be invisible, be silent, and never, under any circumstances, disturb the master of the house. Alexander Sterling wasn't just a man, he was a force of nature, a billionaire recluse who haunted the West Wing like a ghost in a bespoke suit. For 3 months, I was nothing more than a shadow. I dusted his library while he was at work and polished the silver while he slept. I saw him only in passing, a cold glare across the foyer, the scent of expensive scotch and cedar wood lingering in the air after he walked by. My life was small, contained in the servants' quarters, sending every penny I earned back home to my mother's medical bills. But silence has a way of becoming loud, and invisibility is hard to maintain when you're the only 2 people awake in a 20-bedroom mansion. It happened on a Tuesday. A storm had knocked out the power in the city, but the generators hummed with a low, vibrating thrum. I was in the library, trying to rescue an antique rug from a leaking window, when the doors creaked open. He stood there, tie undone, hair wet from the rain, looking less like a billionaire and more like a man on the edge of breaking. I froze, expecting him to yell, to fire me for being in his sanctuary. Instead, he just asked, "Do you know how to stop the noise?" I didn't know if he meant the storm outside or the thoughts in his head, but I answered, "Sometimes you just have to let it rain, sir." He laughed then, a dry, humorless sound that cracked the air between us. He poured the second glass and held it out. "Drink with me." I should have said no. I should have ran back to my room and locked the door. But looking at him, I didn't see a boss. I saw a man who was drowning. We sat on the floor by the fire. He told me about the pressure of the legacy, the empty rooms, the lies people told him for money. I told him about my mom, about the fear of losing everything. For the first time in my life, someone really listened to me. The air changed. The conversation stopped and the silence wasn't heavy anymore. It was magnetic. He reached out and brushed a stray hair from my face as his thumb traced my cheeks. He whispered, "I don't want to be alone tonight." And God help me, neither did I. And then he kissed me. That night was a blur of shadows and firelight, a desperate kind of passion that felt like we were trying to erase the world outside. But morning light has a cruel way of revealing reality. When I woke up, the bed was cold and he was gone. I found an envelope on the nightstand. Cash. A lot of it. It felt less like a gift and more like a dismissal. For weeks, he looked right through me. He reverted to the Ice King and I was just the ghost again. It broke my heart more than I admitted. I tried to convince myself it was for the best. I had the money for Mom's surgery. I could just do my job and leave eventually. Then came the sickness, the dizziness while polishing the chandeliers, the smell of coffee making me gag. I bought the test at a pharmacy 3 towns over, terrified someone would see me. 2 pink lines. That's all it took to shatter my world. Pregnant by the billionaire who paid me off to forget him. If I told him, he'd think I planned this. He'd think I was a gold digger. The fear wasn't just about his reputation. It was about his power. He could take the baby. He could destroy me. I hid it for 4 months. Baggy uniforms, calling in sick. Avoiding him was easy. He didn't look at me anyway. But secrets in a house like this have a way of getting out. Mrs. Halloway found the prenatal vitamins in my bag. She didn't fire me. She just looked at me with pity and said, "He has a right to know, child." I begged her for time. I planned to leave that night. I packed a single bag. I was going to disappear, change my name, anything to keep my baby safe. I was halfway to the servant's exit when the main alarms triggered, not a fire alarm, a security lockdown. I heard his voice booming from the main staircase. He was shouting at his security team. He was looking for me. He was looking for me. Mrs. Halloway hadn't kept my secret. She told him I was leaving. She didn't tell him why, just that I was running away. He cornered me in the kitchen. He looked wild, terrifying. "You don't just walk on a contract," he yelled. I shouted back, "I'm not your property. I can leave if I want." The fear made me brave. I was fighting for 2 now. He grabbed my arm to stop me from passing. Why? Why are you running? His grip was firm, but his eyes were pleading. I tried to pull away and the oversized coat I was wearing slipped. The buttons popped, and there was no hiding it anymore. Silence. Absolute, suffocating silence. He stared at my stomach, then at my face. The color drained from his skin. "Is it?" he started, his voice cracking. I just nodded, tears streaming down my face. "It's yours, Alexander." I expected anger. I expected him to accuse me of trying to trap him. I braced myself for the lawyer threats. Instead, he dropped to his knees, the powerful billionaire on his knees on the kitchen floor. He pressed his forehead against my stomach. I felt him shaking. He was crying. "You thought I lost you," he choked out. "You thought I drove you away. I didn't know how to fix it." I realized then, the coldness, the distance, it wasn't because he hated me, it was because he was terrified of loving me. He stood up and kissed me, not the first time, not with desperation, but with a promise. "I love you so much, Elena. I always have, from the moment I set my eyes on you," he said. The next few months were a whirlwind. The press called it a scandal. He called it a beginning. He didn't care about the headlines. He fired the lawyers who suggested a paternity test. He moved my mother into the guest wing and got her the best doctors. We got married in the garden. Just us, my mom, Mrs. Halloway, and a few important guests. No cameras, just promises. I took a job because I had no options. I found a love I never expected. And now, holding our daughter, I know I'm exactly where I belong.